Hey everybody, it's your old pal Chuck, and I'm back with another review. And to be honest, I don't know how many more of these I'll have, but more on that at the end. Today, we're taking a look at from the Transformers Siege line. This is Voyager class Apeface. Apeface is a triple changing headmaster that goes from robot to gorilla to jet mode. It is a classic, an update to a classic G1 toy that I had and loved very much, as well as its partner Snapdragon, and was originally featured in the Rebirth miniseries, season 4. You guys know the story there. I got this figure off of Amazon.com, where it is still available on sale for $24.99, and last I checked, with 1 day shipping. So that's a pretty good deal for a good figure. We're starting off in robot mode because really, with this figure, I think that's where it'll work out the best. In terms of going into all the different modes and stuff. Now, there are a couple issues I do want to point out. You'll see this pearlescent plastic all over the figure. Well, when it comes to the back section, it actually tends to be a little softer, especially here in the legs, and that unfortunately leads to some issues with everything coming together. It's one of these weird things that once you get everything together, it's solid, but getting to that point is a little difficult. The other thing I want to point out, as I'm sure many of you have heard, is the shield. The shield, unfortunately, is made of translucent blue plastic, which matches the cockpit section, and is painted red. Pegging it into the arm is no problem, but once we get into the gorilla and jet mode, pegging it into that back section, because this, for example, in jet mode forms a rear tail, the rear tail fins, the peg is incredibly tight, and I've only been able to get it out carefully using a spudger, which I'll have to use in this review. Other people, unfortunately, have had the peg break off. Just a little note of caution. The other thing I want to point out is the blaster. Right now, as you can see, it fits very nicely in either hand. It's a nice looking blaster. I feel it's a little undersized. Really, I'm not seeing any of the combat connection ports, what have you. In gorilla mode, this pegs into a hole in the underside of the cockpit, and in jet mode, pegs into another hole that brings it a little more forward. That second hole is incredibly loose, and as you'll see, this weapon tends to fall out. Other than that, if you remember the Voyager headmasters from Titan's Return, which were also triple changers, they would have some spring up mask. They didn't do that with Apeface, which gives us a wider range of movement in the head, but it's kind of undersized, but it's kind of okay, because once we take a look at Spasma, the headmaster, and you'll notice that the arms are a little more padded. The other thing is this back section in packaging comes folded down and out, and you just need to, like this, with like the clip folded out, and I think the gorilla head folded. So you just need to have it like this. So you just need to make sure this is folded up, and basically the cockpit pegs in on an angle. The gorilla head rotates in underneath like so, and that hook just folds up like that. That hook actually ends up being a little bit of an issue in the two modes, because in terms of clipping everything into place. So we'll pause and we'll start the transformation. Okay, so first we're going to start off and going to go ahead and remove the head. This is Spasma. The back of the legs form the robot mode head, while the back of the figure forms the visor of the gorilla mode. It unfolds like every other Titan Master headmaster, and you can fold the arms out. There is a little bit of detailing there for the face, and as I mentioned, you can see that the arms are a little have a little extra paneling there to make them a little bit bigger. Now, what's interesting is some locations are reporting that for the head to fit in properly, you have to rotate the smaller headmaster head around. Mine came like that in package. I just rotated it around and it fits fine. but your mileage may vary. So we're going to put that off to the side and come into the figure. First step we're going to do is fold the fists up into the figure. Then we're going to come around the back of the jet here, get that just out of the way. That's the whole nose cone section. And you're going to unpeg the wings. They are on a sliding, not really a tab section, but a sliding section here, and they tab into the back of what will be the gorilla feet. Just move them out of the way for the time being. And that will allow you to fold up the arms backwards. They will tab into place on the back of the shoulders. And then there is a tab section right where my finger is that will lock the arm entirely into the forearm. Got to just feel around for it and get it in there. Unfortunately, this is one of the little intricacies of Apeface that's a little bit of a pain. And we do it again on this side. You're going to move the wings around it quite a bit. The instructions don't have you move it that much, but if you leave them in the vertical position, it does put a little extra grief on the getting everything lined up. There we go. And now what you can go ahead and do is rotate these legs down. The instructions tell you to pull out from the side. There are these little nubs there that go into holes inside the shoulders. Those really don't hold anything into place. So just so you know, and then return the wings back to their position. Moving down to the legs, flip the feet up just like that. Turn around. Come here, and you'll pull slightly down on the foot. There is like a little hinge there for ankle pivot, and that will allow you to untab the back of the leg and rotate it around all the way until it's open. Next, you'll collapse the legs down all the way. There are tabs on the inside of the leg which will fit into slots on the chest. Don't close anything up yet. That's the instructions will tell you to do that. Trust me, it's a little bit easier if you wait. Bring this section down, fold out the hook and the dinosaur head, and basically there's a little C-clip here that's going to clip into the hinge that connects the cockpit to the back section. And then there's like it's kind of weird to explain or show. There's like these little there's like a sliding tab section here that will help secure the dinosaur head, the gorilla head into place. And this is, as I mentioned in the beginning, the soft plastic being a little bit of an issue. So, but like I said, once you get everything together, it will be somewhat tight. So go ahead, bring these panels up. They'll start to fold together. One tab goes underneath, the other tab goes over, and you want to make sure that these panels are solid underneath. Don't let them move around, because that's all part of the locking mechanism. There we go. And I do think that actually has helped secure the dinosaur head a little. I mean, they don't give you a lot of room to work and everything. Unfortunately, as you've probably heard before, this is all, you know, it's like a very precise fit, and on a mass-produced figure, that's very difficult. But once you have that all pegged in, that's what that back section should look like. You have it underneath. And now you can go ahead, flip out, down and out the rear gorilla paws. Unpeg these sections here. They're on ball joints. Fold them out. These will be the gorilla arms. Fold this down. Come in. Here's the wing section, and this is what I was talking about. Probably should have done this before you had that canopy in place, but you can still do it. Push it down. That will loop around that rear canopy section, just like so. Let's get things into a little bit of position. Finally, bring the head in. Make sure with the gorilla visor facing forward, drop it down into the head. That will complete the head. And as I mentioned, there are 2 pegs here on the canopy. You want the one that's closer to the dinosaur head with the gun facing forward. Even that, the pistol fits a little loose. But there you have Apeface in its gorilla mode. Shoulders here are ball jointed. There is a ball joint on the head, but you're not really going to get that much movement from it. In fact, depending on how you move the head, will actually loosen up the panel there. There we go. Getting it back into place. But it's a nice representation of the classic ape character. I kind of wish they didn't have that little sleeve, that it was just the entire ape face on the back of Spasma. Ape face. But yeah, it's kind of cool. So let's pause for a moment, and we'll continue on to jet mode. Okay, continuing on to jet mode. They actually really only show you removing Spasma here from the ape head. Oop. And I'll just quickly put him into robot mode. Well, in a sitting position, or what have you. Bring the arms up. Everything else can comes out at a later point. But I'm going to go ahead and remove the blaster because it's going to fall out anyway in the head, in the slot that they have for it. So save myself the grief and aggravation. So let's go ahead, fold up the gorilla limbs back into place. These front arms do tab into the side, not tightly, so they might come a little loose as you're transforming, since there is a little bit of fiddle work here. Go ahead, bring the gorilla, unhook the gorilla head from there, bring it back up as if you were going into robot mode, close that clasp, and now you're going to bring this whole section down. Oh, I'm sorry, do not close that clasp, just let it hang a little loose. And there are 2 pegs here that have to peg into what was the bottom of the robot feet. And that's going to be tricky because, again, soft plastic, softish plastic, I should say. And you just want to try to get one and then get the other while holding everything together. Oh, there we go. Got it. Got it. Make sure everything is somewhat pegged into place. Again, your tolerances in mile may vary. Mine, it's okay, but I would have really preferred a little stronger plastic back here so that it wouldn't bend and heave. Now, we're going to have to remove the tail section here to move the wings. And like I said, you do have to use a spudger. At least I do. You want to come in underneath where the peg is, lift up while pulling on the, gently pulling, and I've done it a couple times, so it came out relatively easy. Pull the wings up just like so. Now there are slots here on the hinge joint where for the gorilla arms, and there's a tab under the wing. So you're going to have everything line up, and they really don't peg in. The strength, holding the wings in place, is this main hinge here, but I think you can kind of see underneath, just like that. And then go ahead and rotate this back section up so that the legs are a little like so. Make sure everything's pegged in. And there basically you have the jet mode. The next step is to come in, open up the canopy here. This is where you're going to put Spasma. And just slide it in. Oh, make sure the figure is sitting properly all the way down. There we go. Close it up. And then you're going to return the tail section. This will peg in, secure everything. Now let me show you what I was talking about with the blaster. So the blaster is supposed to peg into that hole. And I'm going to let go. And as you see, it doesn't even hold. So I'm just using the rear one where that was for gorilla mode. And there you have Apeface's jet mode. To be honest, I always preferred Snapdragons, but this actually isn't that bad. Kind of interesting. Yeah, it is what it is. So, we'll pause, and I'll be back with my final thoughts. Okay, I kind of like Apeface. To be honest, I was, very excited for this figure, but once getting it in hand, I was a little disappointed. The fiddly nature of connecting things, the gorilla head and then the cockpit to the feet section, really took a little bit of it out of me. Also, the difficulty in pegging in, well, not pegging in, but removing the shields from the rear of the beast in vehicle mode, having to use a spudger. Really don't like doing that, but again, sometimes it's just the nature of the beast, pardon the pun. You will notice that there are actually little Titan Master pegs, so you can have Spasma standing up, either mode, which I think is kind of cool. Well, I guess not in 8 mode, but and of course there are the 5mm ports to add weapons to. Do I recommend this? If you can get it on sale like I did for $24.99, sure, pick it up. I think it's pretty good. And it's unfortunately one of the last Voyagers from the Siege line. In fact, a lot of people are speculating that originally Apeface was going to be part of Earthrise. Well, that I can't tell you. What I can tell you, for $25, tax, shipping, whatever, it's a solid figure. I wouldn't pay more than $30 for it. So, buyer beware. This is your old pal Chuck for Apeface. We will see you next time.